FileMaker Pro, which we're using here, and FileMaker Pro Advanced, FileMaker Go, and FileMaker WebDirect in 15 all include the same way to visually organize all your FileMaker apps in what's called the Launch Center. You can access the Launch Center by going File and Open, and the window that appears here is the Launch Center. By default, it's going to open up in tile view to the My Solutions tab. Now yours is going to look different than mine because I've been working with various different files. So what you're looking at here are favorite files, which you can interact with by simply clicking the star as you hover over a file, or I can make it not a favorite anymore by clicking the star and making it go away. I also have the ability to make something a favorite through my Manage Favorites dialog, which I can then go in and add things to my favorite, like files that might just be sitting on my desktop, for example. And then those files will show up in my favorites section. The recents are all the files that I've recently been working with, very similar to other apps you might be used to. You can control this under Preferences, and Mac, I go under the Preferences under FileMaker Pro. I can choose how many different recently opened files I can see. And in Windows, you get to the Preferences dialog through the Edit menu. These are all the different files that we have been working with, the ones that are my favorites. I can look at them in tile view or list view, which allows me to see more of them on screen at a time. I also have some navigation all the way down on the bottom here for creating a new solution, creating a new solution from a starter solution, or new from an existing file, which means we want to convert something like a text file or a spreadsheet or something into a FileMaker solution. But you'll also notice the Hosts tab. If I click on the Host tab over here, I'm going to see all the different hosts that I've already connected to. So in my case, I have the FileMaker Server 15. You might not see that on yours because I've already connected to a server that's called FileMaker Server 15. And when I do, I see the different files that are being hosted on that server. So FileMaker Server is a product made by FileMaker that all it really does is just host up your databases so that people can connect to them, much in the same way that I'm showing you here. You'll also notice by hovering over one of the files, I can make it a favorite, which will make it show up in my favorites, even though in the gray text that you see below, it says what server it's being hosted on. Now, if you don't see your server here, you can hit the plus sign and you can enter in the IP address of the FileMaker server, and you can even name it so it shows up as something different on this list. You could specifically say which files you want to see on that server, or just leave the default where you're showing all of them. Same thing here, you're looking at these by default in tile view. You can look at them in list view, and if you have a lot of different files in either one of these views, you can use your filter, and it'll narrow down that list to just the ones that match the filter as you type. You can have multiple different servers in your list here as well. As a matter of fact, as professional FileMaker developers, we often have multiple different servers, both for dev or multiple different client servers all showing up there. Now, the Launch Center that you see here in FileMaker Pro is exactly the same one you'll see in FileMaker Pro Advanced. But there's also a Launch Center that ships on FileMaker Go for iPad, FileMaker Go for the phone, and they all look very similar. Also, FileMaker has a deployment option where you can deploy your custom solution in FileMaker WebDirect, and that has a very similar looking Launch Center. So the idea was to unify the platform by allowing users to begin the process of working with their files all in the same way, and that's all through the Launch Center. One of the things, though, that you'll notice in the Launch Center that's kind of interesting is that each one of these solutions has their own icon, and some of them have a custom icon. Now, where does that come from? Well, if you go under the File menu to File Options, you'll see that there's a tab for Icon. You can choose from a series of different icons that ship with the product, so you can apply one of these if you want to, or if you have your own icon, you can choose the custom option here, or even the custom option here. So let's say, for example, I want to add my own icon. So it's best if you come up with a square icon. In this case, this is a perfectly square icon that I've got. And I insert it, and now I can see what that's going to look like. I can scale to fit or scale to fill if I want. Sometimes it doesn't make much of a difference. So now that icon will ship with this file. So if I upload this to a server, users will see this in my server list of files. But now you see under my recents, I have this custom icon that represents this custom app that I created in FileMaker. It's a neat way to be able to brand your apps and make them easy for users to find when they're looking at a large list of FileMaker files. So the FileMaker Launch Center provides a consistent experience across the entire platform for you to be able to find files that you work with often, favorite them, and even connect to files that are hosted on FileMaker Server.